Morning. So today is the 12th of September, and it also marks National Mindfulness Day. So for those of you that have been following me or know me for some time, I've been teaching mindfulness for, I think, coming up for about 3.5 years now, maybe 4 years. I wanted to bring this practice to life today. Firstly, to mark National Mindfulness Day, but also just to, I think, bring to life my own story, where mindfulness has really become something that has integrated itself into my life, and how much it's changed my way of being, I guess. So there's so many benefits to mindfulness, and it really isn't a fad. Mindfulness has been around for years, hundreds of years, if not thousands of years. It goes back to the Buddha, seventh step of the Noble Eightfold Pathway. But even though it does relate back to the Buddha, 2,500 years ago, it doesn't necessarily mean to say that that it's religious in any way. In fact, mindfulness is secular, which essentially just means that it's available to anyone, anywhere, and that it doesn't matter what our beliefs are. Mindfulness can be hugely supportive, and it's something that any of us, should we wish to, integrate that into our lives. So some real benefits to mindfulness. We're able to, first and foremost, with mindfulness techniques and practice, take ourselves out of autopilot. So many of us spend each moment of our day on autopilot, not really paying attention to what's going on around us, not really paying attention or waking up to the good in the world and the good in life. And I think we can all agree that now, more than ever, maybe some of us need that. But also that mindfulness helps us to really wake up and pay attention to who we are as individuals, and to experience our life in a much more colourful way. So moving from a life that might be black and white and very one-dimensional to a life that is full of colour, full of vibrancy and joy and harmony. And much more three-dimensional. But really, as well, mindfulness is very much about looking after ourselves and nurturing that sense of self-care. There are so many benefits to how mindfulness can help us to reduce our blood pressure, bring a sense of calm to our lives, help us to respond to stressful situations rather than react to them, which causes us more stress and suffering, help us to deal with suffering. Because all of us, or every human being, will go through an element of suffering daily, weekly, monthly, yearly, but we will have to deal with suffering and challenges in our lives. Reducing stress, helping us to deal with anxiety, helping those that deal with depression, manage depression better through mindfulness interventions. So really, there's so much I could talk about. But actually today is not the time for that, and I've already taken 4 minutes of this session to do that. So if you're here doing the practice live today, as it's National Mindfulness Day, I wanted to share with you a mindfulness and compassion practice. And just a really quick bit of background on this. Mindfulness alone is taught quite a lot, actually, just very separate from compassion, in that we learn to pay attention and we learn to notice what it is that we become aware of as we pay attention. And that paying attention can be really supportive for us as we move forward in our day-to-day lives, and we start to notice more about the person that we're being, how we're interacting with people, what our relationships are like, and whether we are on autopilot or we're paying attention to our day-to-day lives. But with compassion is that kind of the element that really, for me, brings the mindfulness journey, the mindfulness learning journey together in a much more holistic way. So with compassion, we can, through mindfulness-based interventions, we can pay attention and we can begin to notice and become aware of what it is that happens when we pay attention. What do we learn? What do we become aware of? How does that affect our experience of who we're being? But the compassion element is really about, once we learn that and we see that and we understand that, what do we do with it? And compassion just helps us to reflect and create that moment of insight around our experience, and helps us to make decisions, whether that's to make some changes to the way that we're being, or whether that's to stick with what we know and actually just see how things go, you know. So this mindfulness and compassion element together can be hugely beneficial in terms of really helping us to recognize what it is that might be bothering us, or how we're behaving, or who we're being, and actually just to, I guess, tip the scales a little bit and look more into what we might do about the learning that we take on board from being mindful. Hopefully that makes sense. So mindfulness and compassion is what we're going to look at today, hand in hand. And I'll just finish that with that there's a story around a bird, and the fact that a bird has two wings. And if you took one wing away from that bird, it wouldn't be able to fly. So that's why when we teach mindfulness, we teach compassion together, in order that with both wings, we're much more able to fly as human beings, and much more able to nurture that sense of awareness in a way that is just so useful for us, and really can help us to, I guess, mature in that mindfulness-based journey. So with that in mind, I'd like to teach loving kindness today. So just make yourselves comfortable. You can see I'm just sitting on a stool, but you can sit on a chair, on the side of the bed, maybe on the sofa or something like that. But it's useful when you're starting your practice to set an intention. And we can set an intention by, maybe, if it feels supportive and it feels okay for you, just adopting a posture, an upright, dignified posture. So resting your hands in a place that feels okay, maybe in your lap or on your legs. And if you want to join me, just dropping your chin. And if you'd like to join me too, to close your eyes or just soften your gaze. And let's take this moment to just come into stillness. And as you find that moment of stillness, if you feel that you need to, just have a shuffle around. Maybe just consider how you might be able to support yourself by being just 5 or 10% more comfortable. Doing whatever you need to do to help that happen. And in these moments of stillness, these moments of quiet, just know that I'm still here, guiding the practice. So beginning the practice today by bringing your attention to your whole experience. And what I mean by that is maybe beginning with how you feel emotionally, what's happening for you, and just spending some time with that. Spending some time just seeing what arises right here and right now. Becoming curious of how you feel this morning. And if it's helpful, you can label those feelings. You can give it a name. I feel happy. I feel sad. I feel frustrated. I feel uneasy. But really, this is a moment of opportunity, let's say, to experience and become fully aware of how you're feeling. Connecting to your emotions, maybe even through your heart center. What does this tell you? And just allowing that to be there for a few moments longer as you just investigate, contemplate. And doing that with curiosity, but with kindness. In whatever arises for you, it's okay. Just let it be there. We are simply acknowledging our experience in this moment. Now, the awareness of your emotions is still there, of course. But shifting your attention now to your thoughts. What's happening in your thoughts? And allow your thoughts to bubble up to the surface. Maybe you have some thoughts about the day ahead. Maybe you've got thoughts from yesterday or this week or last week. Maybe there's something happening for you in your life right now that is pulling you towards it. And this is causing some thinking, some stories, some stuff just going around in your mind. But just become aware of your thoughts as they arise. And also become aware of individual thoughts coming and going. Maybe one thought that keeps coming back. Or maybe there's some type of story unfolding in your mind. But whatever it is, let's treat it today with kindness. Because those thoughts are already here. We're not trying to block them out. We're not trying to push them away. In fact, we are exploring them, investigating them right here and right now. We have millions of thoughts every day. But when do we actually take this time to stop and face into them? Now, our thoughts will still be with us, so just allowing your contemplation, I guess, around that. The thoughts won't disappear, but let's shift attention now to the body. Coming to the body in a way that suits you, maybe checking in on your physical experience. And you can do this however you wish, maybe scanning from head to toe, or just noticing anything that comes up as and when it comes up in the body. What do you sense? Is there any pain or tension, or just even mild discomfort? It's not that we're looking for anything sinister to arise, but more about attention and awareness to how we feel in our body right here and right now. Just taking a moment to allow those physical sensations to bubble up to the surface. Becoming curious of what it is that you notice about your physical body. So now the invitation is to broaden your experience now. So broaden your view of self to encompass your emotional, your physical, and your thinking experience. So gathering up any and all experiences that are with you right here and right now. But in particular, just paying attention to one thing that maybe is causing you some distraction, maybe some hurt, some suffering in some way. That could be something that's on your mind that just keeps coming back. Maybe the way that you feel today, or maybe something in your body, more physical. And start close in. It doesn't need to be something big, but we are acknowledging what's happening here and working with that in a physical, emotional, or psychological sense. And just paying attention to any and all experiences that are arising for you right now in this moment. And connecting with that. Becoming openly aware to exactly what's happening for you right here and right now. It could be something really small, but it doesn't matter. It's still there. Something really small that's bothering you, that normally you would just ignore, push it away. But today is that moment of tuning in and standing face to face with it, whatever it is. If it feels comfortable and you feel okay to do this, just placing your hand over your heart center, which is just between your upper rib cage. And just joining me in repeating these phrases, or if you feel comfortable, other words, other phrases that you might come up with. But as you sit with that thing that's bothering you, maybe a thought or emotion, or physical sensation, no matter how small or big, just sitting with that, with tenderness and kindness, repeating these phrases. May I be well in the midst of all of this. May I be well in the midst of all of this. Really considering your position right here and right now. Really considering anything that it is that's bothering you right here and now. And repeating that phrase, may I be well in the midst of all of this. May I experience and feel a sense of hope in the midst of all of this. May I experience and feel a sense of hope in the midst of all of this. Really considering and broadening your awareness to this thing that's just making you feel unsettled, whatever it is. May I experience and feel a sense of hope in the midst of all of this. And may my heart be open and I feel moments of joy in the midst of all of this. May my heart be open, and may I feel moments of joy in the midst of all of this. Just allowing those words to settle, just noticing how you're feeling in this moment. Very slowly and gently, still keeping a sense of awareness around your own experience, your own challenges or suffering today. But just almost allowing yourself to just take a step to the side, as I'd like to invite you to think of a person, somebody that's close to you, somebody that you are connected to, a loved one, friend, relative, and bring them to your mind's eye. It might even be that you want to choose an animal or a pet to bring forward. And that's okay too. All living beings count. So holding this person or animal, pet in your mind's eye, seeing them wholly, just taking just a moment to consider that the one thing that connects us as human beings is our experiences, our experience of life. Yes, we might be all different, absolutely. But each and every one of us has a beating heart, breathes life into our bodies, moment to moment. No matter how near or far we are to this person, we are connected. We walk on ground, maybe in the same town or village, same country, or even overseas in land. In some way, we are connected to the ground, each and every one of us. And as human beings, we are connected in terms of experience and suffering. So as you hold this person, this pet or animal in your mind's eye, just taking that moment to consider that the loving kindness that we bring to ourselves, we can also send to others. And that we're not on our own. That actually our experience is reflected in many, many others. Those that we know and those that we don't know. And this is what brings us together, the commonness between us as human beings. So as you hold this individual that's close to you, this friend or relative, animal or pet, sending loving kindness through these words with your hand connected to your heart center, if that feels comfortable for you. May you be well in the midst of all of this. May you be well in the midst of all of this. May you experience and feel a sense of hope in the midst of all of this. May you experience and feel a sense of hope in the midst of all of this. May your heart be open to moments of joy in the midst of all of this. May your heart be open to moments of joy in the midst of all of this. We're just taking that time now to allow those words to ripple out to this person, this pet or animal. And then if it feels comfortable for you, just resting your hand if you want to, or you can leave it connected. Just noticing how you feel. Maybe noticing how you feel towards this person or animal in your mind's eye. And then very slowly and very gently, just bringing your attention now to your breathing. And just doing that in a way that suits you. There's no right or wrong, but just following the breath or using the breath as a place to hold your attention for a few moments as we come towards the end of the practice. And just taking your time to maybe drop your chin. And when you feel ready, just blinking, the eyes open, having a bit of a stretch if you want to. Good. So at the end of that practice, just taking a moment to reflect, notice how you're feeling, and just to know that you can at least carry with you for the rest of the day that our suffering individually is always reflected in others, and other people around us will have some stuff going on too. And this is the thing that brings us together, common humanity that binds us together as individuals, even though my experience might be different to yours, and your experience might be different to mine. The one thing that we know is that as human beings, we can be there for each other, and we can really sense into each other's experience and bring that level of compassion to the world and the life that we lead. So may you be happy-hearted for the rest of National Mindfulness Day. I look forward to seeing you all again soon. My name's Stephanie Unthank, and I'm Infinity Wellness Project.